kind of come up with a number, a dollar amount that you then pitch to get the whole project
and
funded?
I don't even know if it's, I guess I can look and give a roundabout number in the range, because until you're able to go in and do a real detailed budget, you can just say, okay, it's going to be $2.5 million, or it's going to be $5 million, it's going to be $10 million. You know, to me, the range is where, okay, this is going to be, depending on if I'm trying to get Brad Pitt or if I'm trying to get Joe Blow, you know, for the same character.
Right.
So depending.
So are you able to tell us, like, what was the size of the project for Inside Man? Like, I know you were
that was $40 million.
$40 million.
That's
$40 million.
I love that. That's a lot of money.
But Denzel gets
and I know that's Spike's boy.
Inside Man. Inside Man.
It was a really, really good movie.
Really good, and it was shot downtown in the financial district. And you guys shut it off, right? You shut because in order to do it properly, because it was in a bank, and you had to shut off the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
$40 million.
I mean, but you look at a lot of those films, and it's $150 million, and this and that, and then you're like, okay, you look at the budget, and you look at the cost for the cast, and it's like, okay, they took more than half the money.
That's right.
You know, so it's how much money do you really have to shoot the movie?
Right.
If Denzel getting 20 and this one getting 5 and Spike getting 3 and
right.
all of a sudden you're like, okay, we only got $2 million to shoot the movie. The budget is $60 million. You know, so. But a lot of times now, a lot of filmmakers and actors are taking their money on the back end. You know, which
depending on how the movie performs, is that
right? Then they can make even more money, like Titanic and Avatar. Like James Cameron, you know, he doesn't pay himself a lot up front. You know, he takes his money in the back end, and then it makes billions of dollars, and he made more money than they would have paid.
Was the precedent for that? I think the Lord of the Rings.
I think Titanic.
Titanic did that because I noticed that they did.
He ran out of money, and they was like, you know, we're not giving you no more money. Like, okay, I'll give him my salary, and I'll just get money in the back end. Right. They didn't know it was going to make over $1 billion.
Because I think they had to do the same thing for the Lord of the Rings.
Right.
They had to do the same thing for Star Wars, and they had to do for Harry Potter movies. I think they had to do the same thing for the Harry Potter movies, right?
And when they do it, they don't know that the movie's going to make that much money. Then when it does, it's like, whoa, that was a brilliant idea. You know, but because you're not going to get the movie done if everybody gets the money. So actors will take points. I mean, Magic Mike. I just read an article, the movie Magic Mike with Channing Tatum. I guess you like him, so
we know that movie.
Yeah.
But that movie, he's number 1. He's number 2 after Robert Downey Jr. $70 million last year for number 1 on box office.
Channing Tatum.
But no. Robert Downey Jr. made $75 million last year because all of his back end money on Iron Man because he did the same kind of structure with the first Iron Man.
Right.
And now it's for all of Iron Mans. But Channing Tatum did the same thing for Magic Mike, him and Steve Sonnenberg, for the back end.
Right.
And it made like 175. Like they didn't think that their little movie was going to make that much money. Right. But he made $60 million last year.
He's hot.
He's hot. Oh my God! Can I get that? Wait, hold on. I gotta get that on.
You're not his audience. That's his audience.
You guys didn't know who Channing Tatum was, right?
Did you think that girls would not
women, they know.
I didn't know.
They're the audience. So he made $60 million.
What? It was like half the movie he was half naked. Why would you not watch it?
I don't know. What about you, Pedro? Why would you not? Pedro's like...
Maybe you'd take a girl to watch it. Or maybe not. She would be a movie boy.
But you wouldn't think that he's number 2 box office. It's like Channing Tatum. It's like you would think Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise is him because of that movie, because of that structure that he did for that back end.
So that looks like a thumb, but he has hot abs.
Didn't they do that for Think Like a Man? I think they did that. Some of them
for
did
Kevin
that
Hart.
with that Kevin Hart. Yeah, because it made way more than they even expected.
So, from a business standpoint, you really have to kind of factor in the impact of talent. So you have the concept, then you have the talent, then you have the actual production. So you're kind of, as an AD, you're basically balancing all these things, right?
Right, and those are all the important things that's going to bring the money. You know, just the concept, the script, and who's in it. And then everybody's, you know, they also taking a chance if they're going to take back end. Okay, I'm not going to get paid. I'll take the back end if the movie bombs. You know, so they're taking a risk too. So sometimes the risks pay off. And I know there's some people that took risks and it didn't pay off, and we just never heard about it. You know, so
Richard Gere.
Richard Gere.
Yeah, he had a lot of movies that bombed out.
Oh, he did?
He did. He stopped acting for like 3 years because of that.
He's also getting older too, so he's not the leading man.
Pretty Woman was his best work.
No, but it was like when he was young.
Pretty Woman.
That was
that was
classic.
Yeah, that was classic.
What sort of platforms do you pretty much recommend for up and coming filmmakers to get their content out there?
Because they don't have the production dollars. So how would they bootstrap it? What are some tactics?
Not to only make it, but to also get it out there, so promote it or to get people to see it.
I mean, the distribution playing fields changed so much. I mean, all big distribution companies using all the Twitters and the fake, like they're using all the social media stuff too. So, and the great thing is that we have access to that stuff. To promote. Vimeo. You can get Vimeo on demand where you can say how much you want your movie to cost, and people can order it on demand. There's all this stuff where you can operate as your own distribution company, whether through DVDs or through video on demand or through paid subscription, on a website. So there's so you don't, not that you don't need distribution companies, but and distribution companies are, I'm not gonna say they're crooks, but they're crooks. They are in these, and this is from experience that I've had and stuff that I've heard from other filmmakers. They kind of like record labels. They love you. You sign and you get the deal, and then all of a sudden, they want you to do all the work, but and then they want to make all the money from it. Right. So and then they tell you how much the movie made, and you got to believe what they say. You can't. They can say the movie made this amount of money. DVDs, and they have to give you a report on how much it made, but you can't really tell. They can tell you anything. And they also say, okay, we spent this amount of money on marketing. You don't have to ever see, okay, what'd you do? And then if you paid $20,000 to market the film, and you paid it to your marketing department, but you paid them already. Why are you paying them $20,000 of my money? You're already paying, they on your salaries. So it's all these different ways that they kind of, stick it to the filmmaker or the creators of this intellectual property. They aren't the creators. They aren't the ones that come up with the ideas and do the heavy lifting and the hard work. But they have the machine to get it out to the people. Yeah. So like Tumblr and Vimeo, Facebook, Instagram now got video. You can do little promos to promote it on Instagram, YouTube. Facebook, Twitter. So and it just to me is about putting a marketing plan, because what happens is all these things that we have at our disposal, but we don't have a strategic plan on how to utilize it to do, kind of like what they did with this comedian named Kevin Hart. They kind of had a strategic plan on what to do before his last movie came out to make it a hit. Mm-hmm. They didn't just post stuff on social media. They kind of had a little marketing plan on how to utilize social media to promote the film. So just timing out. Don't just haphazardly just post it and just kind of say, okay, I'm gonna do it for 2 weeks, and I'm gonna do 5 tweets a day, and I'm gonna have 5 Facebook posts, and then I'm gonna have my friends do the same thing, and just kind of map out how you can have like a street team to promote and put out your stuff, just strategically, and not just the same time, and is a way that you can kind of use it, I think, to be your own distribution and marketing company. And you tend to like pre-schedule before the release, right? Yeah, I think that's the thing to do, and just kind of it's kind of, I think what I'm trying to do is trying to do something like Obama did, the president in his first campaign. He kind of had teams in different parts of the country, and just kind of like you can kind of do that, and just social media wise with your team and promoting things. Because that's the same thing that the distributor's going to do. They just got people doing it for them. But you can kind of do that too. But they're going to take the lion's share of your money, if you ever make it. If you ever see, most filmmakers never really see a profit. So you have to get your money up front. I mean, unless you're doing a big studio movie and they're going to pay you, or you're going to get some points and the movie's going to go to the theaters and they got Tom Cruise in it. You might not. When you say points, you're talking about percentages. Yeah, percentage in the back end, which isn't going to be a lot because it's so many people's hands in the pot. Everybody got points. Directors, the producers, it's just like there ain't that many points to go around. So you might get a half a point. It's like that. But if you made $1 billion, and half a point might be okay. But if it doesn't make any money, then a half a point might be $2.48. Because I mean, I get like directors and assistant directors. We all get residuals And residuals is money. It's not like points, but it's like, you know, there's a residual department and actors too. They all get residuals. So I've gotten residuals from a film or TV show for $2.30, and you know.
Wow.
Because it made, you know, but I didn't do any big movie like Titanic. If I did, I probably would get a nice size check, you know. So which is great, which is a good reason. You know, there's Screen Actors Guild, there's the union for actors, Directors Guild, the union for directors and assistant directors. There's Producers Guild. There's, you know, every union, every person on the crew has a union pretty much. Casting directors, wardrobe, camera, everybody has a union that kind of protects them and protects their interests. You know, so within this world.
Right, any questions that you guys have that you guys wanna, you know, any thoughts, you know, anything that kind of shocked you guys by just what you just heard?
That's a lot. That was shocking.
What kind of cameras do you use?